Susan. Cheryl. Hi.
Cooper. Miriam. Hey, Miriam.
Yay.
She's been watching like the last few weeks. That's so awesome.
I know that some people were going through the ingredients and prepping beforehand. I got a couple of messages, and I know we kind of wrote things down a little wrong. Well, not wrong, but misleading. Sentence structuring, I guess. Because we said 1 cup of sauteed onions, and it's actually 1 cup onions sauteed. Because the onions before sauteing at a cup. That'd be a lot of onion to do.
Hey, Kathy.
Sauteed onions up, and then keep filling up a whole cup of sauteed onion. But anyway, if you sauteed up already a cup worth of sauteed onions, you'll have extra for putting in omelets tomorrow morning, I guess, or something. That'd be great.
Kathy should appreciate this. When I go to share it, I have to select which page, and it always defaults to Passion Fish Reston. Like, that would not be right.
That would not be right. All right, fantastic. We're going to just let some people get logged in.
Yes.
Last week we were, where were we? Spain, right? And we did a paella. That was fantastic. Was that last week?
Yeah, we did the paella last week.
Paella, last week, Spain. Oh yeah, that's right. We were in that fantastic hotel.
Your mom's on.
First class and the whole 9 yards. And hi, Mom. And that kitchen looked just like this one, right?
It's so weird.
All the kitchens in all the countries we've been to.
You're really crafty with that Airbnb thing you got going on.
Always look exactly the same. Today we're in France.
And randomly, Mara's on, and it's so weird that in France we got peonies that look just like
Paris. No, Mara, our neighbor, for those of you who are watching right now, that she dropped off some beautiful peonies from her garden. So we put those in the base.
And a lime.
I love peonies.
And a lime.
Curd.
Curd. Thank you.
Yes. Which we haven't tried yet. But
hey, Brenda.
We're going to. Absolutely. So as people are logging in, we're gonna go ahead and.
Thanks, Kathy. She goes, "Why this? The flowers are beauty."
Get started with some wine. Today, we, in honor of France, we decided, of course, you can't, cook French food without having French wine. And even though it's a little chilly today,
we are getting into summer.
We are getting into rosé season, right? All day rosés, right?
Rosé all day, honey.
Rosé all day. Anyway, so we have this beautiful rosé. It's from the Côte de Provence in France. Of the rosés, there's several varieties and so forth, just like anything else. The Provence region, probably one of my favorite where rosés come from. They're just generally French rosés are classically a little bit drier than like an American rosé. In today's world, the rosé is so far different from what it was back when, was it the 70s and 80s, the era of the White Zinfandel, which was America's answer to the rosé. But here it is. So
we just got a really cool comment. I want to say the name right. Mary Portales de Hortensio says, "Love your videos. You should do tapas." Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Brenda's, I don't know if she's mentioning champagne or drinking champagne, but she said champagne. Danny's on. Hey, Danny.
Yes, French champagne. Whole long history there. What were we saying? Tapas. Yes, that being said, like Spanish tapas and so forth, we could spend many classes on that, and we could spend many weeks. We could spend
with Greek food as well, yeah.
In France.
In France, yeah.
So when we were trying to come up with what to do in French, and somebody had mentioned breakfast for dinner, and who doesn't love like pancakes for dinner? So we thought about this, and this was classically a breakfast dish.
Yes, Brenda, that's where it came from. Is France, Champagne, France. Yeah.
Yes.
Keep going. Sorry.
Well, anyways.
Yes.
I won't get into the history of champagne. It actually started in Italy, but anyways, where was I? We were talking about why quiche? Quiche because it was originally a breakfast dish in the medieval times, 12th century, I think, in Germany. And when the French took over, and it was the little town, and I can't remember the town.
Lothringen. Kathy, did I say that right?
Lothringen, something like that.
Lothringen.
Anyways, which was renamed by the French people when they conquered it to Lorraine, and became a French province or whatever. Anyways, and then so the quiche was named as cake, right?
Yes.
And so it's an open face custard.
Kuchen, I think is what they say.
Well,
is the
Kuchen, yes,
cake,
was the German word for cake, and they took that word and created the word quiche from that, I guess. This is my understanding. Anyways, so it became a very loved thing and became more of a lunch and / dinner item in France. So here we go. I'll start with some lovely dry rosé.
And because I will not forget this time, we will also start by preheating our oven.
Preheating the oven, good job.
Thank you.
And what are we preheating that oven to?
375.
375. Cheers. Mmm. Lovely. Very refreshing. Delightful. Alright, so let's get this oven started to 375. Bake. There we go. We'll get that started. And so, one of our early on episodes, we did chicken pot pie, right? So we learned how to make a pie crust. So this is a refresher course on the pie crust. If you buy pie crust, that's perfectly fine. Learning to make it from scratch, you'll realize how easy and simple and just flaky, just how much better from scratch pie crust can be. So we have in this bowl 1.5 cups of flour, and we're going to be putting in a ½ teaspoon of some sugar and a pinch of some salt.
And a stick of cold butter, right?
And a stick of cold butter. We're going to mix the salt and the sugar into that flour real quick.
You're close enough, but it's pronounced kuchen. Kuchen.
Kuchen.
Okay, nice.
Cake.
Thank you.
Hence the word quiche.
C. Hey, Mary Kate.
So we have ourselves 8 tablespoons of butter, or also known as 1 stick. And we're going to put that into the flour, and you want the butter to be very, very cold. So those of you who did not
just
get
how much is a pinch when you say the salt? Just
1/4 teaspoon or less.
Perfect. That was Susan. Sorry.
Yep. So when you're doing pastries in general, you want your butter cold, unless the recipe that you are calling for, like a cake or something like that, you want it at room temperature. But pastry, like a pie crust or a puff pastry or anything like that, you want to start with the butter refrigerator cold. Because what we don't want to do is we don't want the butter to actually completely incorporate itself into the flour and become like a paste. We're actually going to crumb the butter into the flour. So it's very important that the butter stays nice and cold. Which you'll see sometimes they're just made out of wires, like a heavy wire. This one is strips of metal, but you just chop it into. If you don't have a pastry cutter, you can use a knife on your board and just kind of chop up the butter, and just keep going until you have a nice little crumble with the flour and the butter.
Who is making their pie crust that is cooking with us tonight? That is the question.
That is the question.
It really is so easy.
It really is.
Oh, your mom asks, is that a Dutch recipe box by the wall?
It is, and no, it's not a recipe box. It's a salt. It says salt on it. It houses my salt, and in there I have a nice, beautiful sea salt that I use for cooking with.
We actually got that with your sister and Joe.
Yes.
Hi, Rick Thompson. Susan is making hers, and so is Carolyn.
Oh, fantastic!
Cheryl Carol.
All right. So we've got we got that, and now we're going to put in about 4 to 5 tablespoons of really cold water. So I have some ice cubes in there to keep it nice and cold. Because again, you really want to you don't want to try to put too much warmer water because you're not trying to create a paste. So we're going to start out with 4 tablespoons. And we're going to just kind of mix with our hands. We're going to get our hands nice and dirty with this.
And you don't want to, what am I trying to say? You want to keep it cold because
what happens is the butter doesn't really melt into the flour. So you have like, as we start kneading it, that butter is going to create layers inside the dough, and that's where you get your flakiness from. Because when there's little still pockets of butter, the flour and the dough kind of start separating from where that butter is, and that's how you create flakes. That's why puff pastry is so flaky, because actually if you've ever watched somebody
or like
puff
croissants,
pastry,
because they're
croissants,
constantly
it's
layering.
literally, they roll out the dough and they literally put slabs of butter on it and fold the dough over top and then roll it, and then they fold it again and roll it out so that there's just layer upon layer of butter inside the pastry.
So good.
It's so good, which is why they're so healthy and delicious.
No, I meant to say, sorry, you don't want to overwater the dough because it will hydrate as it rests.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's what I meant, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna, what seems like really flaky right now, or a little too much
Sandy
flour right now, it will start incorporating itself.
I learned that from Allison Roman. Hashtag nothing fancy. Cheryl Carroll said, I love learning how to make pie crust from scratch. My favorite is when we did the tortillas, though. Yeah, those tortillas
those tortillas were so good. When we were in Mexico, that was like 3 or 4 weeks ago?
Yep, we did the fish tacos. Yeah, those tortillas turned out really good.
See, it's just starting to come together. We're just folding this up, and if you need to, put a little extra flour, I have a little bit of a dish of flour on the side that I can just kind of put down on the board so that the dough doesn't keep sticking to the board.
Hey, Ryan. You do, Mara. She goes, I still need to try the tortillas. They're so good.
All right. So that's pretty good. It's nice.
Hi, Kevin Lawrence.
Fully incorporated. So we're going to create a little ball, flatten that out. Then we're going to take a little bit of saran wrap, we're going to cover that up, we're going to put it in the refrigerator and let that rest while we make everything else.
So where's everybody thinking we should go to next? Some of the comments we had last week were doing like Moroccan food.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about Morocco. We've talked about it a few times.
We have.
So I think maybe we should do that, unless somebody else has something.
Yeah, let's see what people say.
All right, so we're gonna grab a little saran wrap.
Rick Thompson says, hey guys. You guys just got snow like a couple days ago, no, Rick?
All right, so that's covered up. We're going to put that in the fridge. Let that rest. We're going to set this stuff aside. We don't need this anymore.
We're going to talk filling, right?
We're going to talk filling. So One thing that's great about quiche is it's such a flexible dish, and you can really kind of create and have fun with it. There are your classics, the quiche Lorraine, which was the original quiche that the French took from Germany, and which is a bacon quiche, which later on, when it became quiche Lorraine, they added cheese to it. So this is a variation on that. Some of my favorite flavors. We're going to do, we got the bacon. We're going to add tomato. We're going to do shallots instead of onion. I just love the flavor of shallot. And you could do onions, shallots. You could do any kind of onion. You could do a nice sweet onion of the white onion, or a real pungent onion of the yellow onion, if you want to. And like I said, in this case, we're going to do some shallots. So
our test run we did.
Our test run we did
onion.
Regular golden onion. Yep.
And I know we said onion on the recipe, but it's okay. Yeah.
And that's great. Like, what are some of the other? There were some other things that.
So one that I really want to try is because it's one of your favorites, which is the fig. Brian would change an entire recipe when figs are in season. So this one was fresh fig and Roquefort cheese. So like that sweet of the fig, and then that pungent of the Roquefort. Yeah. What were some other ones? I've got it here. There's that sesame.
You can do a wild mushroom.
Wild mushroom, yeah.
And just keep it nice and simple. You can add lots of different herbs into that if you want to, like some rosemary and thyme.
There's the green and yellow. So that's kind of really summery because it's zucchini and yellow summer squash.
Yeah, yellow squash and zucchini, right? Nice and summery. Put some leeks in it. That'd be awesome. Put a little Dijon mustard into the custard. You could also, speaking of Roquefort cheese, you could do one in the fall time with like apples and blue cheese or something like that.
Oh, I would love that. Would you use like a red apple or a Granny Smith? Probably not a Granny Smith since you're, right? Or would you? What would you do?
I would use a sweet tart kind of apple, almost like a Fuji or something.
Mmm. Oh, that's good. Rick said, yeah, and today it was sunny and beautiful. Nice. Or did we want to start our stove?
Yep.
What is it? Maybe the left.
Yeah, so we're going to warm up our pan to a medium temperature. And we're going to saute this in butter. It would not be a French dish if it wasn't sauteed in butter, right? Thank you, Julia Child.
Right?
All right. Alright. Medium. Put a little butter in there. Nice hovering. About a tablespoon and a half.
About a tablespoon and a half.
Yep. More or less if you want to.
Was some of that small one the one you were going to use for the... Pull another one.
Oh, I was going to, you're right. I was going to set some aside to just about a teaspoon worth. I'm going to mince up really nice and really small mince. The other day I couldn't find shallots in the store, so I used a little red onion because it's mild and sweet.
Yeah, and you don't notice. I mean, it was very good.
Yeah, it's usually just a little bit. So yeah, we're gonna mince that up nice and fine, about a teaspoon worth. We're gonna set that aside for the vinaigrette later.
What is everyone drinking this evening? Because we're doing rosé. Did anybody else go French, or are we just sticking with reds and whites?
Cocktails.
Towels, shots.
Shots, towels, yeah. All right. We're going to give this a little stir. Nice. I love the smell of sauteed onions. It's just awesome. So while that is doing its thing, clean up. We're going to slice our tomato nice and thin. Oh, lovely.
The beauty of live streaming, huh?
Live streaming, yes. Accidents can't be edited out. All right.
Oh, nice. Brenda's doing red dessert wine that they got from their winery.
Oh, good. All right, we're going to set aside our sliced up tomato. We're going to take some bacon. I pre-cooked the bacon, so hopefully you did that because cooking bacon takes time. So that's why I think I listed in the ingredients 6 to 8 slices of cooked bacon. We're going to chop this up. There we go. And we're going to just set that aside.
Yum.
Yum.
Put that anywhere.
I'm being really messy today.
A little bit.
I know. More for you to clean up
More
later.
for me to clean up later. I'll just grab this little piece of chopped bacon. Junior?
All right. Oh, is Junior on? Fine. And then we're going to shred up our Gruyere cheese. You could use Swiss cheese, provolone cheese, and that's another one, like an Italian theme going. You do like salami and provolone, and
yep.
instead of bacon. Put some basil in there.
Yeah, you have one for an Italian quiche. Yeah, quarter cup provolone cheese and some grated Parmesan, and then they use like a Genoa salami in it. Sounds really good.
You could put turkey and
Swiss.
turkey and Swiss, yeah. I wouldn't recommend a cheese like a mozzarella that's too like stringy. That's really the only one I can think of that I really wouldn't use, because like goat cheese would be nice in here.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, nice. Rick Thompson, they're having a Zinfandel.
Perfect. All right. You know what I don't have is I don't have a bowl for that.
A bowl for that. Oh, for the sauteed onions.
For the sauteed onions. I'm going to clean up my disastrous mess that I made. Clean surfaces. All right. Our onion looks nice and translucent a little bit. Sauteed up real nice, so we can take that off the stove. Perfect. And we'll set that aside. We're going to make the custard. So the custard's really simple. It's just going to be, we have 3 eggs. and we have 1.5 cups heavy cream. We're going to put a pinch of nutmeg in there and some salt and pepper. And that'll be our custard to go over our filling inside our quiche. All right? So, we're going to crack open 3 eggs.
So I think this brings up a good discussion, and when we talked about it on Sunday, you were like, people are gonna think I'm a food snob, but you are not using like ground nutmeg.
I'm not, and yeah, I'm using a whole nutmeg seed, nut, whatever. I guess it's the meat of the nut, right? A little bit of salt. And a little bit of pepper. And then we're going to mix in our heavy cream. And we're going to do a little fresh nutmeg in there that we're going to grate into there. The reason why I like using whole seed and grate it fresh whenever possible, like allspice, cloves, that sort of thing, because you buy those small containers of nutmeg, and they're going to sit in your spice rack for 1, 2. Some people probably have 5, 6 years ago that they bought that. It really does lose its flavor and potency that, you know, and so to get that and always have that fresher flavor, you want to be able to grind it fresh ground pepper, fresh ground cloves and stuff like that. So getting the dried seed and having those seeds in your spice rack and then grinding them fresh as you need them, it's going to last you a lot longer in your spicing. So there's our custard. We're going to go ahead and set that aside. We're going to roll out our dough. And make sure we have like a little damp cloth underneath our board.
Susan goes, now you tell us.
What?
See, I knew it was going to be a good discussion about like the herbs and spices and things like that. Like, you know.
Oh, she probably went out and bought, I'm sorry, we went out and bought nutmeg and now you're going to be sitting on nutmeg for the next. Well, you know what, this fall, use up all that nutmeg. There's going to be tons of dishes that we can make with nutmeg in the fall, okay? So pumpkin pie and apple pie and lots of different cookies.
We will make use of that
we
nutmeg.
will make use
Promise.
of your nutmeg, I promise. All right, so we're going to get ready to roll out our dough. So we're going to put a little bit of flour on our board. We're going to take our dough out of the refrigerator.
Those who cook live with us, I wonder if anyone else does it like Carolyn does. I posted a picture on our Facebook page because she kind of just has everything around her and then she has the iPad sitting right in front of her.
Oh, she just grabs what she needs when she needs it. There you go. That's brilliant.
I like that. Oh, eggnog. Good call, Rick Thompson.
Eggnog, yes. See, you'll need.
That's your favorite too.
You'll need the nutmeg for that eggnog.
You love the winter time because you love your eggnog.
And who needs to wait till winter time to have eggnog? I think it should be a year. I'm gonna right now make this a thing. It's gonna be a thing. I promise. It's a thing. We're gonna make it a thing. Eggnog year round. But you can have all day rosé. I'm gonna have year round eggnog.
Hashtag all your eggnog.
Hashtag all your eggnog.
AJ Boodle.
All right, so we're gonna start rolling that out. And we'll get our pie pan prepared. And by I mean my lovely assistant.
I'm just spraying it with some Pam, or non-stick spray.
A little non-stick spray.
Rick said LOL.
All right. Fantastic. I got my little pie plate. Set that down in there. You can be fancy and cut and create little edging to it. I'm not going to be fancy.
So is anyone else having that problem too? Dave said, hi, our internet connection keeps cutting out, so we're a little behind. I think it's just that time of the day. I think everyone's kind of running into that because it's streaming off my phone, but like on Brian's phone, it keeps cutting out a little bit. Sorry guys, it's not us, it's the interwebs.
All right, so I got my little pie crust. We have extra pie dough, which my grandmother always would take the pie dough and roll it out, put some butter, cinnamon, and sugar on there, and then fold that and bake it, which I will probably do a little later on. So that's something you can put in the refrigerator and do for later, and make little like cinnamon sugar crispy cookie sort of things. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they kind of almost got caramelized a little bit, so they.
Yeah, because I put brown sugar and cinnamon and butter, and then
a little fuzzy, but not cutting out. Yeah, so I don't know.
All right, so we're gonna set that aside and do that later. All right, so we're going to put little cuts in the bottom of your pie crust.
We need to take a step back before we do that really quick. Sorry.
Yeah.
Dave said that they got stuck back on the eggs, so it was
for the custard.
Yeah.
3 eggs, 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Whisk the egg first. Add the heavy cream, salt, pepper, a little fresh nutmeg, right? Pinch of each, and then that's your custard. That's it. Yeah.
Well, then I don't know if she's rolled her dough out yet, but I mean it's fine.
Yeah. So then we rolled out our dough. We put little cuts into the bottom of your pie plate, and we're going to put this in the oven for about 15 minutes. No, I want to go back. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
15. All right, so we're going to preheat that for about 15. Pre-bake that slightly for about 15 minutes.
Your mom says her passes too, but not in a while. Good. Yeah.
All right, so while that is baking, we'll talk about the vinaigrette dressing for a little bit. So this is just a classic vinaigrette. It's your basic French vinaigrette, and you can do lots of variations on this thing. Putting in some tarragon, other fresh herbs. You can add some crushed raspberries, make it like a raspberry vinaigrette. You can change out the vinegar and make a balsamic vinaigrette.
Red wine vinegar, you said?
Red wine vinegar is what I think I posted on there. I'm using a white wine vinegar. This is a Pinot Grigio vinegar. It's very nice. So it's just vinegar made from the Pinot Grigio grape.
I can remember. I think we said white wine, didn't we?
No, I think I said red.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter.
Right.
The quality of the vinegar is going to make a difference. You're going to just have a much more better flavor with a better quality vinegar.
And I think that's why it switched. You were looking at red wine vinegars, and they didn't really have one that was very good.
They didn't have a good quality red wine vinegar in the grocery store when I went. And that's the thing with right now and today with grocery stores. It's kind of hit or miss what ingredients they have on their shelf and what they don't.
Well, they didn't have shallots.
The other day they didn't have shallots. Today they did.
Right.
So, all right. So we're going to start with a little bit of vinegar in there. And then a pinch of salt, right? And a 1/4 teaspoon of mustard. What did I do with my whisk? Oh, that's fine. I'll use this whisk.
I was like, you have more over there, don't you? Oh, okay.
So we have about a 1/4 teaspoon of mustard. Mustard, if you don't want to use mustard, you can put in egg yolk. You want an emulsifier. An emulsifier is what takes, because vinegar and oil don't mix. And an emulsifier is the glue that binds those two. It helps bind those two together. It keeps them together. You can make a vinaigrette without mustard, without egg yolk, without that, just the vinegar and oil. It just will start separating over time. To keep it together, you put just a pinch of mustard. And if you want to use a dry powder mustard, you can do that too. I'm using a Dijon mustard.
Well, if you're doing an aioli, you would use the egg yolk as your emulsifier because that's actually becoming like a mayonnaise. Like the fat is coming into the.
Well, yeah, mayonnaise is just olive oil and egg.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah, no vinegar. Sorry. Yeah.
A hint of lime juice or lemon juice.
Lemon juice.
All right. We're gonna put in our shallots.
Mara says, "How about Thai, Chinese, or Vietnamese next time?" That's something to think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thai, I love Thai.
All right. So we're gonna keep mixing a little and add just a little bit of olive oil at a time. And I'm adding up about 4 tablespoons of olive oil to my 1 tablespoon of vinegar. If you want to make more salad dressing or less salad dressing, but that's basically where we're at.
Hi, Robert. The Schmidt Fosters are in the house.
Oh, nice. And there it is. As you can see, all incorporated together. And there's our classic vinaigrette. And again, you can do lots of variations on the thing. If you had like a seafood salad, tarragon goes really well with seafood. If you wanted like a spring grain salad with fresh, cooked seafood on there, like cold, like
I was gonna say, would you do lobster in a quiche, or is that gonna become too rubbery as it cooks, or how would you?
No, you can do lobster in a quiche. I would recommend crab. Thank you.
Over lobster.
Over lobster. Crab just chills nicely, has a nice texture to it, shreds nicely, and so like crab, even like a crab salad, with a little vinaigrette dressing.
Some tarragon in that.
Some tarragon in there, absolutely.
Nice. Well, and that was the thing too that we were sort of reading about, that quiche is that ultimate because it can be served hot and cold, and so
yes. It's a great dish that can be made the day beforehand, reheated the next day, or if you're going on a picnic, cut yourself some slices, wrap them up, put them in a picnic basket, because it tastes good cold too. So that's what's great about the quiche. And quiche got a bad rap in the.
Did you say the 90s or
in the 90s? It was in the 90s. Some movie came out and said something about, or some book came out. Real men don't eat quiche. And that just kind of became the downfall to quiche, unfortunately. But before that, like in the 80s and the early 90s, there wasn't a restaurant you could go into, a little cafe anywhere that didn't have quiche of the day.
A quiche of the day, yeah.
or a variety of quiches on the menu. Where are we at on this?
We got 9 minutes.
We got about 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes or so. So before we can continue. So. I don't really, while we're waiting for that to...
Well, this might be good because I know Carolyn was a little bit behind, so as far as like rolling out the dough, are you guys good? Because we can kind of give it a beat, if you will. Let's see what she says.
So the original quiche Lorraine, which is just bacon and cheese, typically Gruyere cheese. They would take the dough in a very classic French, any classic French cooking would have the dough, and you would actually slice bacon and you would press it down into the base of the pie crust and bake that before you add the rest of the filling.
I was like, why didn't you tell me before we did it? Because it sounds so good to like push that. Yeah.
Yeah, we could try that sometime. I love having the bacon throughout, so
absolutely,
to me that's a little bit more, I don't know.
Oh, good. They said they're all good. They're about 5 minutes behind, so that's perfectly fine. Cheryl Carroll's good. Here's the deal. Just like with the moussaka, we are going to kind of Julia Child this a little bit, so because it does cook for such a long time. Yeah.
So once we get it filled and we put it in the oven, it's going to take about 25 to 30 minutes to bake. And then when you pull it out, it's going to take another 25-30 minutes of just cool time to set before you slice into it. So because of that, and that's an hour out of just standing around waiting for it to bake and cool.
We love you guys.
I mean, I'd love to stay in line with you all night. We decided we made one earlier that we have in the lower oven right now, keeping warm. That we'll pull out at the end, so you can kind of at least see the final product. What this would look like. So when you reheat, so what happens with a quiche is it does like rise, it does puff up a little bit,
sure.
Right? So when you let that cool and you serve it right away tonight, it will be just nice, nice and fluffy or whatever. It does settle down when it cools and when you refrigerate it, and then when you reheat it, it does not puff back up. So you're going to have to be a little bit denser on the second day, but the flavor is still amazing.
Yes. I think that's why it is a good thing to do it as like a day ahead thing sometimes, because depending on what flavors you're going with, to really just let that sort of sit overnight and just marry and mingle, you can end up with a really amazing.
Yeah, yeah. This is my favorite. I love bacon, onion. Like my favorite pizza is just a simple pizza with onions, fresh onions, bacon, fresh tomatoes, and spinach. Those are my favorite kind of pizza. So I was like, when it came to the quiche, I was like, that's just that combination of onion, bacon, and tomato.
Our niece said, yes, I love the good old switcheroo. Professional content quality. You know that's right.
The switcher. Oh, yes. Yeah, you know. When I used to do quick cooking shows in the early morning news on the early morning news in Rochester, New York. And we literally had like 10 minutes of total airtime, like over the course of the hour of the show of the news. They would cut to us, and we'd have like a minute and a half to talk about something, and then they'd go back to news, and then they'd cut to us, and so I learned to
cook and stop,
and always have everything already pre-chopped, because there wasn't that cooking live with me. You were never gonna. You were maybe writing notes, taking notes down, and maybe writing to cook later, but you never cooked in real time with me on a show like that. So this is what's making this one a little bit more fun, because we're able to converse back and forth, ask questions, which is great. We weren't able to do that obviously on an actual news show.
Sure.
Although some people I think did call in, if I do remember, and ask questions, and then they would relay those questions to me. So that was awesome.
Rick Thompson says, my next house will have a double oven. Yes. Brian was like not negotiable.
This was the first opportunity I had to design my own kitchen from ground up.
Before you say that, Sherry Kelly, thank you for this, because he'll keep going. She goes, I want that marble countertop. Or it's actually not marble, it's a quartz. But yes, keep going. So anyway.
So I had the opportunity with a disaster that happened to us with the house, the tree falling in the house. But out of that, out of Lemons Make Lemonade, we gave us an opportunity to do some updates, and we took walls out. This used to be a galley kitchen. It looks entirely different than what it used to. And I had the opportunity to really design it myself. You've seen me probably open up, I have all my cutting boards all right here.
We can open that one to kind of show them how it looks.
All my herbs and spices are right here. All of my tongs, wooden spoons, vinegars, oils are all over here. So I have everything like right where I need it. So it's fun. It's still a fairly small kitchen, but it doesn't feel that way. And opening up this wall and having this island here, which is it's 5 foot by 6 foot. So it's pretty incredible and awesome. I was very grateful to have that.
Sherry says, beautifully done. Thank you. He did do a really good job.
And things I insisted on. I insisted on gas stove and an electric oven. It's the only thing electric in our house. Everything else is natural gas. Mm-hmm. Where you get better temperature control from a gas stove, you get better temperature control with in an oven, in an electric oven over a gas oven. So that's why I would recommend electric.
Well, because we converted completely to gas when this construction was happening, because we were oil heat.
Yeah, we didn't have any natural gas in this house, so we had to. That was
another nightmare.
That was another nightmare. Phone call after phone call after phone call, following up, trying to get them to come out to hook this house up to natural gas. But But yeah, having 2 ovens is a game changer.
And yes, Rick, they're both full size.
Yes, they're both full size. I didn't go with the half. They have them where they're smaller, and so forth.
So when we have the family here, we do our Fakesgiving. You can have the turkey going and have all the dishes going and all that stuff too. So.
And that's huge for things like Thanksgiving, and it's so funny
because Brent and Joe will bring some sides, and we can just warm them. Yeah.
You think, oh, I'm only going to use this on Thanksgiving. You find that you use it a lot more than Thanksgiving, but I like it. Thank you. Yes. Where are we at? We got about a minute out, and then we can fill it and go. I'm going to have a little bit more wine.
There you go.
Right? The rosé. So rosés come in multiple different shades of pink. Really all it is it gets its color from the skin of the grape, because the skin of the grape is from a red grape. The meat of all grapes is white. So there are white wines made from red grapes. You can get a white Bordeaux. And
we've had some really nice ones, actually.
Yes, really nice ones. And so forth. Anyways, so a rosé is made from a red grape, where they've removed the skins, and they left a little bit of the skins in the fermentation process, allowing the color to come through. And that skin also gives you that tannin and that dryness. So that's why like French wine typically is a little bit drier.
But just because this one's a pale pink and there's darker ones, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to not be as dry. No. It really is, like you said,
just
how much skin they left on, or how much.
It was that winemaker's decision to go leave it in longer or shorter.
Yeah, but we've had some dry rosés like this that are darker, really rich looking. Yeah. Cheryl Carroll says Blanc Merlot for the win. I don't know if I've ever had a Blanc
Merlot. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had one of those.
No?
Do you have any recommendations, Cheryl? Yeah, we've done the white Bordeaux, but I don't think we've never had a...
No.
We've done a couple Chenin Blancs.
I don't believe we have. All right, we're ready to rock and roll with that. So let's
top pie crust.
Top pie crust. Pull that out of the oven.
You're just gonna set it on the stove.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, there's our pie crust.
She's pretty.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to put some bacon in there. Right along there.
Robert Schmidt says, my parents get a white Merlot in a box. ... Probably not a recommendation. ...
Okay, there's...
It's just like canned wines. Like you can't really, there's some really nice canned wines that we've had. I mean, it's not like something...
They've come a long way.
They've come a long way.
The wine in a can, yeah. Well, it actually holds its fermentation and stabilizes the wine a lot better than like...
Underwood, I think, is the can that we've tried that we actually...
It was actually pretty good.
It was pretty good.
All right, so we're gonna put our onions and in there. The cheese is in there. The bacon is in there. We're gonna go ahead and put our custard in there. So in reading like Julia Child, she said, when you're being creative, you really just want to do no more than 3/4 of the way full with your toppings, so that you leave room for custard as it's going to expand and so forth. So we're going to put our tomatoes right on top. Alright, we're going to put that back in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of salt and pepper right around the top.
Oh.
Yep, I should have.
You did not.
I did not.
My favorite new toy, you got me a new pepper grinder.
And I didn't use it.
You did not use it. You did not.
Because I always have a little dish of fresh ground pepper off to the side, because I'm constantly like, whatever. So I've got out of the habit of using a fresh pepper. All right, so we're gonna cook that for about 25 to 30 minutes. We're gonna start out with 25 and see how it looks, and then we're going to add more time as we need to. But what you're gonna want is a nice golden brown top, We got our salad greens.
How's it looking?
It looks beautiful. Look at that.
Bring it up to the...
Yeah, so nice golden brown. So everybody can see it. I'll just put it right up here. Nice golden brown.
Hi, Aaron.
We're going to toss up our vinaigrette. Have some mixed greens there. We're going to go ahead and cut into our pie.
Our kuchen.
Our quiche. Yeah, beautiful. Some mixed greens.
Always salt and pepper your greens. Or at least always pepper them.
Yep. And there we go. Some classic vinaigrette dressing on mixed greens and quiche. Welcome to France.
Brenda says, lovely, thank you. Mara, yes, we did use a non-stick pan, but you don't have to. That's just...
for sauteing.
For sauteing, yeah. So we did use a non-stick for that. And Joey just signed on. Hey, Joey. Robert says, yum.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you. And we'll announce what we're doing for next week, probably tomorrow.
Okay.
And bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Thanks, Cooper. We can't wait to see your picture. All right, we love you guys, and
Send your pictures.
we'll see you soon.